Hello viewers, myself Professor Shahana Sengupta. Presently, I am associated with Swami Vivekananda Institute of Modern Science, Kolkata as an assistant professor in the Department of Microbiology. First of all, I would like to convey my heartiest thanks to all my viewers and subscribers. In my YouTube channel, I generally share different types of academic videos related to the field of biological science. Today, I have chosen a topic for you all, that is the production of monoclonal antibody. This is the first part of my video lecture. So let's start with our journey with a new topic. Happy listening. Let's begin with monoclonal antibodies. Monoclonal antibodies are identical immunoglobulins generated from a single B cell clone. They are a class of highly specific antibodies produced by the clones of a single hybrid cell. These antibodies recognize unique epitopes or binding site on a single antigen. They bind to the same epitope with same affinity. Monoclonal antibodies all have identical antigen binding sites. Derivation from a single B cell clones and subsequent targeting of a single epitope is what differentiates monoclonal antibodies from polyclonal antibodies entity. Polyclonal antibodies are antibodies that are derived from different cell lines. They differ in amino acid sequences. Monoclonal antibodies are produced against a variety of proteins, glycoproteins, glycolipid, nucleic acids, and chemically defined grouped linked to a protein carriers. Let's discuss about the basic characteristics of monoclonal antibody. A physicochemical characterization program will generally include a determination of class, subclass, light chain composition, and primary structure of the monoclonal antibody. The class or subclass of an antibody is defined by its heavy chain variation. Talking about immunological properties, binding assays of the antibody, to purify antigens and defined regions of the antigen should be performed, where feasible, to determine affinity, avidity, and immunoreactivity. The biological reactivity, that means the specific ability or capacity of a product to achieve a defined biological effect, that should be assessed by appropriate in vitro assays. These methods generally include the determination of physicochemical properties such as molecular weight, size extension, coefficient, electrophoric profile, chromatographic data, and spectroscopic profiles. Quantity should be determined using an physicochemical or immunochemical assay. It should be demonstrated that the quantity values obtained are directly related to those derived using the biological assay procedure. Now, I will be discussing about the historical aspects of monoclonal antibody productions. Paul Ehrlich, at the beginning of 20th century, coined the term magic bullets and postulated that if a compound could be made that selectively targets a disease-causing organism, then a toxin for that organism could be delivered along with the agent of selectivity. In 1970s, the B-cell cancer multiple myeloma was known. It was understood that these cancerous B cell all produce a single type of antibody known as paraprotein. In 1975, Kohler and Milstein provided the most outstanding proof for the clonal selection theory by fusion of normal and malignant cell, for which they received Nobel Prize in 1984. In 1986, first monoclonal antibody was licensed by FDA, knownly orthoclonus monoclone OKT3, which was approved for the use of preventing kidney transplant rejection. Now onwards, I will be discussing about the principle behind monoclonal antibody production. Monoclonal antibody production or MAB is produced by cell lines or clones obtained from the immunized animals with the substances to be studied. Cell lines are produced by fusing B cells from the immunized animal with myeloma cells. To produce the desired monoclonal antibody, the cells must be grown in either of two ways. Either by injection into the peritoneal cavity of a suitably prepared mouse, which is known as in vivo method, or by in vitro tissue culture. The in vitro tissue culture is the method used when the cells are placed in the culture flask outside the mouse body. Myeloma cells have lost the ability to synthesize hypoxanthine guanine phosphoribosyl transferase or HGPRT, which is an enzyme necessary for the salvage synthesis of nucleic acid, which enables cells to synthesize purine by the salvage pathway. Hybridoma cells, they can grow on the selective medium that is known as HAT, as it contains hypoxanthine, aminopterin and thiamine. Unfused myeloma cells cannot grow because they lack HGPRT. Unfused normal spleen cell, they also cannot grow in the similar media for indefinite time because of their limited lifespan. Let's discuss the total process of production of monoclonal antibody in a stepwise manner. The total process of monoclonal antibody production consists of 6 basic steps. The very first step of monoclonal antibody production is immunization of mice and selection of mouse donor for generation of hybridoma cell. In order to isolate B lymphocyte producing certain antibodies, lab mouse is immunized through repeated injection of specific antigen. Adjuvants are also added with the antigen that time. Several weeks after of immunization, antibody starts producing. Serum antibody titer is determined with the help of either ELISA or flow cytometry. A sample of B cell is then extracted from the spleen of the mice for further experimental assay. The next step of monoclonal antibody production is myeloma cell preparation. Myeloma cells are immortalized cells that are cultured with 8-azaguinine to ensure their sensitivity to the hypoxanthine, aminopterin, thymidine selection medium used after cell fusion. A week before cell fusion, myeloma cells are grown in azaguinine. Cell must have high viability and rapid growth. The myeloma cells line that is used in this process of hybridoma technology is selected for its ability to grow in tissue culture and for an absence of antibody synthesis. The third step of monoclonal antibody production is the fusion of myeloma cells with immunospleen cells and selection of hybridoma cells. The extracted B lymphocytes are added to a culture of myeloma cells from bone marrow. The intended result is the formation of hybridoma cells formed by the fusion of B cells and myeloma cells. The fusion is done by using polyethylene glycol or PEG, or by electrophoration, or by using FAS. The next step is the selection of hybridoma cells. The B lymphocytes contain HGPRT1 gene, which encodes for the enzyme hypoxanthine guanine phosphoribosyl transferase or HGPRT. The enzyme HGPRT involved in synthesis of nucleotides from hypoxanthine present in the culture medium. Therefore, B cells can grow in the medium containing hypoxanthine, aminopterin and thiamine, which is called as HAT medium. But myeloma cells lack HGPRT1 gene, so they do not produce HGPRT enzyme and do not grow in the HAT medium. The myeloma cells fused with another myeloma cells or those do not fused at all die in HAT medium since they do not utilize hypoxanthine. Similarly, B cell that fuse with another B cell or those do not fuse at all die eventually because they do not have the capacity to divide indefinitely. So, only hybridoma cell, that is the fused cell between the myeloma and B cell, only can survive and divide in the HAT medium. Screening is done to select hybridoma cells, which are desired cell for the production of monoclonal antibody. Very next step of monoclonal antibody production is cloning of hybridoma cell lines by limiting dilution or expansion. The selected hybridoma cells are cultured in suitable culture medium, often supplemented with insulin, transferon, ethanol, amine, and other additional hormones. Some commonly used culture media for hybridoma cells for production of monoclonal antibodies are DMEM, IMDM, HAMS F12 or RPMI 1640 medium. After making proper culture, in the next step, the hybridoma cells are being inoculated in the suitable host. Under this step, the hybridoma cells are injected into lab animal so that they start to produce monoclonal antibodies. And after the production, that antibodies can be assessed and can be used for further practices. These hybridoma cells may be frozen and can be stored for future use. The last step is the extraction and purification of monoclonal antibody. The purification of monoclonal antibodies involve isolation of antibodies from fluid or cell culture supernatant of a hybridoma cell line. When purifying monoclonal antibodies, monomer purity and endotoxin level are two important factors to be taken care of. Polyclonal antibodies, monoclonal antibodies, as well as antibody fragments are usually purified by affinity chromatography and other different types of chromatographic technique. Resins containing an immobilized ligand, for example, that can be protein A, protein G, or protein L, are basically used to capture antibodies and antibody fragments. It helps to address the increasing market demand at lower cost and with reproducible product quality. During monoclonal antibody purification, the cost of protein A resin makes the product more expensive. Resin capacity utilization is a major advantage of continuous chromatography compared with the batch mode. Different other methods are also being used or applied for the purification process, like antigen affinity chromatography, radial immunoassay, and immunoprecipitation. I would like to conclude my lecture after discussing the applications of monoclonal antibodies. Monoclonal antibodies are used in the treatment of several diseases and disorders, and their application is known as immunotherapy. Some diseases and disorders treated using MAB include cancers, rheumatoid, arthritis, multiple sclerosis, autoimmune disease like SLE, cardiovascular disease, corn disease, etc. Monoclonal antibodies are widely used in therapies, laboratory technique studies, and research and potential treatments for certain infections, disorders, and cancers. Commonly, monoclonal antibodies were initially studied in cancer treatment, where they are currently used in the treatment of different types of cancers. Thanks a lot for your patience. Please do subscribe my channel. Stay tuned for the upcoming videos in different fields of biosciences.